All right. It's now telling me that it's working again. Hello, everybody. Thank you for sitting with us during our technical difficulties. Please forgive us for our just constant tinkering with how the tech works. That is just a feature of being part of this group because technology is a struggle all the way through. I'm Carrie Havens, and this is Sarah. Fight. We are embarking on a crazy mission to see if we can change the way democracy happens because boy, it seems like it stopped working a while ago. So Sarah, how do you usually like to accomplish the impossible? That's what we're doing here, right?
Like, oh man. Yeah, I'm a workhorse, right? Like I just
possible, impossible, doesn't matter, just get it done.
Yeah, and like if somebody tells me it's not possible, I'm just like, watch me, right? Like I just it's how I've done it my whole life, right? Like watch me try. I don't know, it feels better to fight than to not fight.
Yeah,
so this is all we know how to do, right? Like man, I don't know. It's messed up right now though, and I have to say, like the doomerism vibes out there, it is hard to contend with. It does get you down every now and again.
Yes. Yes, sometimes hearing that nothing is possible and you should just give up is a lot. And I mean, it just really not something I have time for, quite honestly. But I got to say, I feel like things are shifting. I feel like more people are saying the thing. And it's depressing that it took us this long to get to the madman in office must leave the office and we have to do work to make that happen. Seems like a really like straightforward and reasonable position for us, which is why we started this thing. But it's a real struggle for some people. And I find myself wondering a lot about why is it such a struggle to just to say that this must be different, that we must change something, that this is not tenable. Why is that such a struggle to make that known as your position without any hedging, without like, oh, maybe one day someone will take care of it, right? Like just saying, nope, this needs to change.
I don't know. It's like there's this just massive amount of hopelessness. I mean, it's been broken for so long, right? We see the pendulum bing bong back and forth between the two parties, and no one ever seems to pick up the torch for actual democracy. It's just power games. It's a power play all the time. And we see that mimicked in our everyday culture. People vying for the job, stomping on little people as they go to get up the rung of the ladder, like the individualism of this country, and people not really wanting to work together. They just want their own piece of the pie, top of the mountain, stake their flag, right? And saying all this is a little ridiculous. Like, what are we going to do? Change the culture of America? But like, I just have to say, like, I want to be in a fight with like, millions of fighters all moving in the same direction, and everyone's just vying for attention, and the ego is out there, and people want to be right, and no one wants to be wrong, and they want to use shame and all these things. Like, that's a little psychological woo-woo, but it's all true. It's all of that is true, right? Like, I don't know. I feel like it's okay to say and to acknowledge that we can make a different choice and it's possible. Figuring out how to make it happen, that's what we're doing. That's what we're here for. But the very first thing folks need to do is just say, like, it doesn't have to be like this. It shouldn't be. We should not accept this shit. We just shouldn't.
And this is something that I think, like you said, that it's been around for a really long time, right? And so, one of the ways that you avoid that sort of cognitive dissonance is you just say, well, this is how it is and I can't do anything about it, right? But that even just rejecting, and I'm going to be a super huge nerd here, but like there's a Star Trek episode where like the bad guys capture Captain Picard, and the whole form of torture is trying to get Picard to say there are 5 lights when there's just 4 lights. And like the entire episode is just Jean-Luc Picard being asked how many lights are there, and then like writhing in pain when he doesn't give the right answer. And I think like where we are right now is we are in a place where folks are being asked to believe that it'll be fine, right? Like it is just roll with it. This is like a normal thing that everybody has to deal with. Sometimes you get a crazy man that tries to fight the Pope in office. And that's just, kind of a thing that happens in politics now. And I am 100% okay being the person that's like, no, this is bad. This is very
Yeah.
not good. And we should fix it. Right. Like
Mm-hmm.
but being able to make that statement demands that, like, one, you're willing to acknowledge that it's bad, and that, of course, has to, like, pushes you towards action just in and of itself. But then
Yeah.
the second part is you have to be fed up with the complacency bit, right? You have to
Mm-hmm.
be okay with saying, not good enough, people, we need to do more. And that seems to be a real struggle right now.
Yeah, because people aren't linking the things together, right? It's very, very clear in our minds that there's a reason that Trump was elected, right?
Mhm.
There is a reason that people went back to that choice. And that's why we're nonpartisan, because we're looking at the full scope of the political landscape all the time and saying everything is related, right? The Dem messaging was so crap that people went and chose Trump again, and they haven't quote unquote fixed it since he was elected in November 2024, right? Like, what are we doing, guys? Like, if you guys want to swoop in and be the good guys and you want everyone to vote blue no matter who, right? Like, what are they voting for? What are the people actually voting? Like, I can't tell you, and I follow politics religiously, right? Like,
Mhm.
they don't even know what their goddamn message is.
I mean,
We
the message is put us back in power, right? That's the message. That's what
Sure, but
that's what
what
the
is
party
the
told.
why, right? What is the goddamn why? There is no why. It's just we're the good guys and we wear capes, right? Like, I don't know. What are you gonna do with your cape? What are you gonna fix?
Yeah,
They can't
I
even
am
tell
deeply
you.
curious about this because we still don't have a plan for accountability. We don't even have Democrats willing to say that they will hold this administration accountable, that they will initiate trials or subpoenas or impeachment, right? Which, of course, is the thing that we spend all our time on. There's Jamie Raskin's, Representative Raskin from Maryland 8 is, of course, out there talking about the 25th Amendment. I think it's super important to contextualize this. He's been talking about adding a new body to evaluate the fitness of the president for 10 years. The first time he introduced this was in 2017, and he just kept introducing it, and now he's introduced it again, right? But to quote Andy Craig, who used to work at the Cato Institute and has been doing a lot of constitutional work on the constitutional role of impeachment. He's out here talking all the time about it.
Yep.
He's got an op-ed out that just straight up says Raskin's 25th Amendment proposal is a distraction. There's a better option, and
Yeah.
he's 100% correct, right?
Well, and what's wild to me is that how many times were you told in meetings with congressional staffers that they were not going to pursue impeachment because it was performative politics? It was going to be literally, we have this on record,
Yeah,
right? Like,
it's
we have
true.
it over and over again. And what did we say? You seem to have forgotten that leaders can lead. And they'd be like, well, the people have no political will for this, right? But I don't know. Here we are, Jamie Raskin pushing something to try to what? To try to get the people's political will to move in the direction of wanting to remove the president. It's just the wrong means to do it.
Mhm.
Impeachment has a bad rap because of what happened before. Doesn't matter. It's still the
Well,
constitutional tool, right? I still use a Phillips
yes.
head to like change the light socket because that's what it takes, right? I don't switch to the flathead, right? Like, this is just the tool that you have to use. I mean, it's very simple. It's
It,
not outrageous. It's not radical.
but
It's like
the
in
entire
the
world, the
instruction
entire
manual.
engine would like to insist that it is radical and crazy for you to ask this body of government to do its job and act as a co-equal branch of government. And I gotta say, the impeachments from the last time around, right? Those also were not. Nobody wanted to do those either, even
I know.
after the insurrection, even after people came in through the halls. And I mean, these halls are big and they're confusing, and like, I can't even imagine having them full of like 1,000 angry people with, zip ties and masks and what have you, right?
Right.
Stomping through
Yep.
trying to find your office. But even after that breach, right? There still wasn't the type of concerted effort, the concerted politicking to make it happen. that needed to be there. I mean, there's a whole, I should probably find this article, but there's a whole Politico article about just how Nancy Pelosi resisted right up until she couldn't
Yep.
anymore.
Yep.
And she did not want to pursue impeachment. She did not want to take that burden of accountability on. And so rather than expelling the folks in this, having the Senate expel the folks that didn't bother to even go to the trial, right? You know, we just kind of continued, and folks like shrugged. Well, we can't do anything about it. I guess we're done. Which is
You know what's
wild.
crazy? Do you know what's crazy? I have three sons, right? And I can tell you from being in the school system for quite a long time, particularly the high school, the public high school system. Do you know how quickly they will suspend and expel 16-year-old boys for doing dumb stuff that like 16-year-old boys are always going to do? And they'll just like out, right? Like, and yet we've got a man in office who's committed such egregious crimes against the Constitution, the people. Like, let's not even talk about the amount of money he's like stealing from all of us, right? Like, I just think it's wild that, you know, you can put a 14, 15-year-old kid on notice for some dumb thing that they did because they're 14 and 15 and their prefrontal cortex is so far from being fully developed. And yet we're all going to just watch the evening news and be like, oh, yep, there he goes again. There he goes again with some dumb stuff, breaking rules, starting wars, right? Like, I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy.
It's expectations, right? Like, what are your expectations for these 16-year-old kids, right? Compare that to what are your expectations for the leader of the free world.
Wait, shouldn't it be a reverse model where we're like, oh, you're 16, bro, that was a major mess up. Go do some weeding in the garden or something to, you know, work off your time. And then we ramp it up. The higher up you get,
more offended. Government. You should be more offended at like the egregious lack of like morals and legality that is currently happening here. And I think one of the most interesting, or well, terrible, really, examples of this is Clarence Thomas, right? Last year, there are a couple news articles that came out how he has had a lifelong friendship with Harlan Crow, a billionaire down in Texas. He's flown on this guy's plane. They've gone to rich people retreats, right? And there's not even a question, like, it's just true. These things have just happened.
Yeah.
Right? He lied on his taxes about it and stuff. And there has also been zero action.
It's wild.
To kick him off the Supreme Court. Now, I know somebody in the audience is going to talk about like political realities, right? Like, well, if we did that, then, you know, Trump would get to pick another Supreme Court justice or what have you. But like, these are not the only tools that are available to us. We could, if Congress was a co-equal branch of government, again, we could talk about imposing term limits on the Supreme Court. We could talk about expanding the Supreme Court. There are many different ways to do this. And I think this is something that, like, I mean, we have an ambitious vision. We have an ambitious vision of a government that is responsive to the people, right? Wouldn't that be super cool?
Can we stop hedging bets? That's what I hate about all of it, right? That's what they're doing constantly. Like, oh, we're not going to impeach Clarence because he might choose. What I want to say to the whole political establishment is, could we live in the now?
Yeah.
Just for 12 months, could we live in the political reality is the now? It's not what this election's going to give you a year down the road. It's not what chair you're going to get and what committee. It's not, oh, I want to run for Senate in 2 years, so I'm not going to deal with the now, right? Like, let's just deal with the reality. That's what political reality should be, instead of this whole like, well, if we do this, then this is going to happen, and this is going to happen, and this is, I mean, I don't live my life that way. I deal in the moment, right?
There's the future is not guaranteed, right?
And no, there's no crystal ball.
This is the difference between like expectations, I maybe envision, if we're thinking about it like that, in order to get to a responsive government that listens to the people. we're going to try a whole bunch of stuff to get there.
Oh, yeah.
Because I guarantee you, like most of it is not going to work. We're going to have to take many different steps in many different directions and different tools to figure out what gets us closer to that responsive government. There's no reason, if you spend all your time thinking through actions before taking the actions, right? You're just never going to learn anything. You're not going to do anything.
And you're killing the dream, right? Like we're wild. We're crazy. We're a little insane. We've got this big, huge, bold vision dream, right? Like, and we are unwilling to run up against people in social media comments or signal chats who just tell us that we should manage our freaking expectations. We're not going to do it. It's not valuable to me to say, like, I have a dream, but it's I mean, you know what I said the other day? Like, look, my kid wants to go to film school. Okay. Mm-hmm. And he came to me and I said, great, how can I make it happen? I didn't say to him, that sounds really good, honey, but I just want to manage your expectations that it's going to be real hard to get a career in the film industry. What the fuck? What the hell is that telling my kid? No, you got to dream big, and you got to, if you really
and then you
want
have to work. Like,
you have to work harder than anybody else. And like, I don't know anybody who's working harder than us, so I feel pretty good about it. We don't know if we're going to be able to make it happen or not, but like, we had our hand in like 15 different pots every single day saying, let's stir over here and keep this pot going. And oh, we got a new idea. Let's start this one over here. Right. Like, yeah, because that's what it takes. Vision, imagination, creativity, taking risks, throwing everything at the wall, seeing what sticks, what gets traction, and then leaning into that thing. And I mean, we got an organization to take the president out. Well, I shouldn't say it like that. We got an organization to impeach the president. We got an organization filled with candidates ready to take over in Congress. We got a few other things on the back burner that are churning.
And more things we know we still have to do. Like, we have to get into the media side of this in a really organized and focused way, because the media piece, man, I hate to say it because I know journalists are facing just like a ton of trouble from everybody that used to support journalism as a whole and think of it as a public good. But the lack of the complete incuriosity of local media on candidates that do not meet the specific, like the money piece of it is really harming the democracy. People don't even know who's running. They don't even, I mean, of course, they don't know when the primary is either. Like 10% of people vote in that. But even when people write articles about it, they don't write about candidates that they don't even all the candidates.
They don't even write about the policy positions of the candidates that they're writing about. They only write that they raised X amount of dollars in this quarter. That's all they're writing about. They're not writing about why that matters. They're not writing about what this person stands for, right? And let's talk about why no one knows, why no one votes in primaries, because no one in the media covers it. And why is that? Because the incumbents don't want you to vote in primaries. They don't care if you vote in primaries because the incumbency bias is so ginormous. If you do go, you're most likely to vote for them anyway. So if we start publicizing primaries, then that puts incumbents' jobs at risk. So what do we want to do? We want to publicize primaries because we want them to have to fight for their job. American people are out here every day just fighting to pay the electric bill and put food on the table and I mean, literally, like, it is rough out there. Have you been to a grocery store lately? It's insanely expensive for basic necessities, and we're fighting, but we're not supposed to know when the primaries are so that we can go pick someone else who maybe cares a little bit about our fight. I mean, it's crazy. It just shouldn't be like this. And so, the media is a huge part of it. But like, how do you break into that cycle? Even the very popular journalists who are out there talking about how any candidate worth their salt should be on the accountability train. They do not want to pay attention to the candidates who are on the accountability train because they haven't made enough money.
Right. Like and this reminds me, the talk about money really reminds me of how like reporting happens in the tech world or like about AI or something like that, right? People will breathlessly report all of these deals with huge numbers, right? And they're taking that as a sign of like competence and a sign of like effectiveness and as a solid business because somebody issued a memorandum of understanding saying this company and that company are going to come together. And what's really wild to just kind of see in practice is how many of these big numbers are just self-dealing, right? It's just the candidate who's rich from some other reason putting money into their own campaign and then saying I raised X quantity of dollars, right? That piece of it is complete. It was completely hidden to me before we started doing this work, right? And I hope that we are able to tell these stories effectively to try and build a greater understanding, help people unlearn the idea that money actually means effectiveness or popularity or I mean, really anything other than the fact that these people could get their hands on a couple $100,000, right? Like that's
it's weird because I mean, in regular life, I don't know. Maybe people do think this way, but like when you've got a wealthy neighbor who lives down the street, like people kind of, it's weird. It's like I kind of idolize them, but I kind of don't like them because they think they're better than me. But then we go and vote these people into office all the time just because they were successful. Like I said last time, we're electing fundraisers. We're not electing people who represent us, Congress people who represent us. It's in the damn name, right? Your representative. It's hard. So the media is a huge, huge part of it. Of course, the more media you get, the more money you get. So that evens the playing field. Man, it's just not something we have any control of. But we're going to keep talking about it because that's what we do. Talk about everything.
Yeah, there's a comment in here. About the they use the word transpartisan, which I think is really interesting. Sam Husseini has done a ton of fantastic reporting in a lot of different areas to include it's going to include Gaza during the genocide. And apparently he has a article out there about how impeachment needs to be transpartisan. And I like this word because a lot of times when you and I say we're nonpartisan, people hear that as bipartisan. They're like, oh, we need the Republicans and the Democrats coming together. And the reality is that we actually don't give a shit what party you are in because everybody swore the same oath and everybody should be able to uphold that same oath, right? So this idea that you can go across the concept of transpartisan idea is really a nice one. And thank you to the commenter who called that out. I will reach out to Sam and see if he's interested in a bigger conversation. A lot of our candidates are deeply invested in Palestine, and that's part of the reason why they decided to run, because they spent a lot of time, working with activist groups, couldn't get anywhere with Congress, and then, decided, well, if these folks are not going to be listening, if they're aggressively shutting out this whole area of the constituency, I might as well run because at least I'm listening to it. At least I'm a part of it, right? You cannot ignore me. And I think, again, this not refusing to accept that this is just the way it is, refusing to be ignored is just a huge part of the engine that's driving all of this.
Yeah, I just don't know how we escalate it to the electoral level, because I do think that so much of it is people just needing to have the hope that it's worth it to show up at the polls, or that there is something different possible. And of course, the media piece of even getting to people is really, really hard right now. But, it's mind blowing to me that we've got this ginormous coalition of people who are aligned on like a huge array of things that the American people want. And for the life of us, we cannot spread that message, far enough at this point, right?
I mean, there is the idea that everybody is sort of isolated, right? I mean, I just after moving to DC, I came from Colorado, which is blue everywhere you go, all up and down the ballot. And people here in DC, I still find myself hedging a little bit, right? If I'm at a bar and just chit-chatting with someone and they say, oh, what do you do? I'm like, well, I'm here to yell at the government. And I kind of make light of it because it still seems almost a little bit rude to be like, I'm here to take this guy out of power. Can't stop me. That's right. And almost like without fail, people are intrigued by it and they want to know more about it. And then, you start to have a real conversation there. But I mean, that's a part where I am working to be a little bit braver, a little bit more upfront about things. I have business cards with Pancake coming in on Monday. And so I'll be able to hand out Democracy Doesn't Defend Itself business cards and make the conversation a little bit smoother. it is audacious. It's audacious to show up and be like, oh yeah, I am the person that is going to facilitate Congress regrowing a spine and the removal of Donald Trump. Watch for me in the news, right? Like that's, but also,
well, there's that big fear piece, right?
yeah.
Like like, we don't want to talk about impeachment because it will embolden Trump stuff,
Oh
right? Like,
man, that's
I mean,
rough. Yeah.
all day long. I'm worried and afraid. I know we talked about this last time, like I'm afraid to call my congressperson. I'm afraid to call them out. Man, these people are just regular people.
Yeah.
They just happen to have a higher position. And like, if we keep living in a world where we think that some people are better than others, or more worthy, or more deserving than others, then we may just be stuck in this spiral forever, right? Based on your race, based on your wealth, based on your country of origin, based on your career, based on the amount of money in your bank account. No one's better than anybody else. No one. Right? Like, it's just, it's such not a revolutionary idea, but we operate in a way like that's
I mean, it is kind of, right? Like, this is the fundamental revolutionary idea where you're like, no kings, right? No divine right. We, the people, me, can look you in the eyes and we can be exactly equal. I do really like the idea of this as a continuation of that sort of revolutionary thought, because it does, I mean, it does change the whole dynamic, right? If what's really happening here is just a basic lack of respect for you and your right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, well, it gets a lot clearer that the thing to do is to show up and demand that respect and say, well, if we are not able to have a conversation, right, where you have heard me, and again, Sam, our constitutional scholar, always says this, you don't have to like agree with everything I say, but you have to be able to sit down, look me in the eye, and have a conversation that is based on like the same shared reality. And if that's not happening, well, then the work becomes not like beg you to understand me. The work becomes, how do I get rid of you so that I can replace you with someone that does?
Yep. I mean, and no one's gonna, I mean, I don't know about you, but no one just hands out respect, right? They're not gonna do it, right? Unless you meet someone who's like humanity first. And like, we're in a culture war situation where that's fewer and far between, right? In regular political environments. So yeah, it's demanding it, showing up and saying, you must listen to me, right? I voted for you.
I think when we talk about like demanding respect, I wish I could remember the exact phrasing of this, but sometimes when people talk about respect, it's them saying you have to respect my authority, right? And sometimes when you're talking about respect, it's like, you got to respect me as a person. And these are two like completely different things that we are talking about here.
Yes.
The fundamental respect for each other's humanity is the level that you want to be on when you're having these big conversations about, from the position of someone living their life who has entrusted a representative with the capacity to, make decisions on their behalf effectively in the political system. And the conversation about respect my authority, right now, you can only hear it in South Park voice when I say that. That is when you hear Jamie Raskin saying,
correct.
Oh, I know better than you.
That's when I lose my head and I scream that everyone's smug and I hate them all, because that's exactly what I'm talking about, right? Like, this is why I talk a lot about humility. Everybody should have the humility to know that you're just one guy. You're just one. It doesn't matter what your rank is and your position or whatever. You're still just a guy. And man, it is just like, I'm one of these crazy people. I do not hate the people who voted for Trump, even though Trump needs to go, right? Like, I respect the fact, even if I don't agree with their vote and what they did, but like, you can still respect the fact that someone has a voice and voted a certain way or has a certain opinion and not agree with it. It is possible. It is. And our representatives should be listening to us. This is what we're trying to do. Responsive government all day.
Yeah. The choices piece, we've been yapping for a little bit. We might want to wrap it up. But I think if you are able to get yourself in the headspace that folks made a choice that seemed rational to them at the time, I think
Yep.
that changes the whole equation, right? The
Yeah.
decisions being made, and this goes for everybody. This goes for the people that voted for Trump. This goes for the people in Congress. They are making decisions that
Yep.
are rational for them. And for Congress, that's, who I'm deeply familiar with. For Congress, the rational decision right now is ignore the people they represent to
Correct.
preserve political power, because they
Correct.
know that right now the people are not organized enough to influence the political power that the representatives can have. Now,
Yep.
my bet is that you and I are going to change that equation for them at some point. But but this is a fully rational decision. And so the only course of action is not to appeal to some greater morality or make somebody think, that they have a responsibility. Unfortunately, there's no integrity at play here. The only course of action is to change the calculus. And so
Yep.
that means for organizing people into consistent, coherent pressure that cannot be ignored. And it's really unfortunate that that's all that's left to us, that we can't actually have like a human to human, why don't you do the right thing? That's what we elected you to do type conversation. But all of these are choices. All of these are decisions that are made in, as rational might be a strong word, but they make sense. They make sense for the person making those decisions to do this.
Yeah, why would they do anything different, right? Why would they listen to us? Why would they pursue impeachment? Why would they change the way they govern? Why would they hold more town halls? Why would they don't have to, right? No one's forcing them.
I mean, how long has it been since the Republicans held like any Republican held a town hall?
Yeah.
I think they stopped doing that in 2025 or
There's some
something.
who haven't held town halls since like 2012, right?
That's
Like,
also true.
yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy, but somehow that's acceptable, right? That's acceptable that people on both sides of the aisle just vote for party for whatever reason and then expect that the party's going to do them right and then wonder why things go sideways all the time, right? Parties aren't going to save you. People might, but you got to figure out who those people are and you got to vote for them.
Yeah. This is the consequence, right? This is how we change the calculus, or we try to anyway. We connect the thing that people want with the capacity to vote them out. It's going to be a real challenge, and I guess I do just want to say before we go today that, like, this is not the first time people have tried this, right? One of our candidates right now, Shekhat, he tried to do this in 2017 with brand new Congress. Yep. Because that is always the solution, is to get these folks out of office because they are not functioning as an effective government. And they stood this up, and for 4 or 5 years they fielded candidates, and they are one of the crews that helped elect AOC back in the day. It is a real, this idea has been out there, right? And there are people that recognize it when they see it, and they're like, yes, this is what we need to do. And the trick is just, keeping an eye on that vision and headed towards it.
And just
can't
not
be distracted
giving up.
from it. Yeah.
Not giving up. I mean, there's a lot of people, and there's a lot of comments, and there's a lot of things that come our way constantly trying to derail us. We get mad, we storm around, we beat our chests, and we get back to work. Because there is no more. I mean, I was talking to a friend yesterday, but she was saying, like, do you get something good from this work you're doing for free? And I was like, honestly, I can't think of anything else that I should be doing. If I were not doing this, I would close up my computer, never turn on the internet, never watch how can you know what's going on in this country and not be doing this, not be working to make a difference in the type of Congress that you elect, not be working to get the president impeached so we can actually move on to helping the country and dealing with affordability and immigration and reproductive rights and tax and right? Like, I know that people are tired and people are doing their very best, and we're just going to continue to say, like, can you do one more thing? Here are some examples, right? Can you level up? Can you vote in a primary? Can you place a bet on a candidate? Can you write that email? Can you make that phone call?
I'm sure the folks listening are super, super engaged, but I'm just really curious, like, how many folks listening right now know when their primary is? And I mean, vote in it or have voted in it already. I just moved. I have to figure out how to change my voter registration after like 25 years in the same place. So I'm going through that process right now. But yeah, it's just shout out whether or not you know the process or if you need help with it or something. Vote.org is a good place to check if you're just looking for places to send your friends or your family. You can do everything there. You can check your registration. You can change the registration. You can figure out where your primaries are at. And if you guys have ideas too about how to make elections seem worthwhile, about how to make the process of filling out that ballot important to vote, we are all ears, man. We are building things right now, and we want to hear what you guys feel like is necessary out there. Tell us. We're listening.
We're always listening.
Always listening, always working. Oh man, I know you got to get on the road, Sarah, but I think anything else you want to hit before we close up for today?
Get some rest. Tomorrow's Monday. We got a busy week ahead of us.
Come on. I can't do that. You know that. Democracy doesn't take a nap.
Democracy doesn't deserve a rest. We got to fight. We just got to fight. It's not, it's not so hard. You know what? The only thing I will say is like, it does feel damn good to have a purpose. And if anybody is interested in like even a shred of this feeling, we have like 15 different areas that you can jump in and get involved to feel the little bit of purpose, to have a bunch of people moving in the same direction, whether it's on the candidate side of things or the impeachment side of things. I don't know. It's what it's going to take. It's going to take a whole lot more people that can understand the vision. And maybe we just got to get clearer and clearer and clearer on what that vision is. But we got a whole direction. We got a whole direction for this country.
we're just going to build all of it out in public like this because
why not? Yeah, because exactly. we're the transparency people, right? Like that's it, right? It doesn't have to be polished and it doesn't have to be perfect. But if you can see the process of what it looks like to try and figure it out one step at a time, like you'll know that, not everybody needs to have all of the answers all the time. I don't need to have all the answers, but I do want to know the next step that I should take. And here, that's what we're here for. Yeah. So if people don't know their primary, drop a comment. We show up everywhere. We'll help you out.
Absolutely. All right, folks. Oh man, so many comments in here. Looking at a lot of these. The Durham, we got a note here in North Carolina about Nita Alam losing to an AIPAC funded Democrat by 1,000 votes. In New Jersey, we saw the opposite situation. AIPAC reached out to Analilia Mejia's challenger. I cannot remember his name right now.
Malinowski.
Thank you. Yep. So Malinowski, and he lost by 1,000 votes. It really is just like the people coming out, like the folks showing up in the primary. All of these primaries have, 40,000 people voting, 50,000 people voting. There's 750,000 people in a district, right? Like that is 10%, 5%, something along those lines. Like there are a lot.
There's a huge opportunity, basically, is what we're saying. There's a massive, massive opportunity. So when we hear the internet saying that candidates should drop out because they're going to split the vote and blah, 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 and they're not going to be able to get the incumbent out because there's too many primary challengers. One, why don't you ask the incumbent to drop out? And two, why don't you go help your candidate of choice go get an additional 10,000 votes? It could put them over the top, right? Like there is a massive number of people in every district who are registered to vote. We just gotta roll them out. I just got to get them there. I mean, can we make voting sexy? Do we need to send out prizes? Do we need to,
we could do that? Yeah.
Personalized video messages. You did it. What do you want?
Stickers, cameos from us, cheering people on. We'll do that.
I mean, I'll send you Monty for a day. He's pretty awesome.
Oh, he's pretty cute.
A puppy to play with if you vote.
There's a note in there from Andy about Durham, North Carolina. We have organizations on our impeachment coalition list. I don't know that we have any from Durham, actually. We've got folks from Fayetteville, North Carolina is super active, especially in the influencer community. There's a group called Sons of Liberty. Big Sarge that runs that. It's a veteran-oriented group. Is also from North Carolina. There's a couple folks. North Carolina is really active right now because they are facing some incredible pushback from GOP for gerrymandering and for attempting to basically strip the governorship of its capacity to do anything, so that they can retain power. It's a real battleground, and I know people are out there fighting that fight. But maybe the impeachment coalition is a place to start for new folks. And if you know of a group in Durham that that is working on this, that does want to work on impeachment, send them to us, man. We're always on the internet. Just DM us on Instagram, or have them fill out the form on the website for the impeachment coalition, and we will loop them in, because this is absolutely a nationwide project, and we need absolutely everybody.
Yep.
Good. Oh my God. Good Mythical Morning. Okay, folks, if y'all if y'all know the gentlemen at Good Mythical Morning, you just let me know. I love them. I think they're great, and I would love to be on the show. Vote like a beast. Okay, I did not know that was an option. Yeah, Andy, I'm actually going to drop a note in here. Just one last thing about North Carolina. One of our candidates from North Carolina, Ashley Bell, has been facing shenanigans from the Democrats. And when I say that, I mean that the Democratic Party refuses to acknowledge or interact with her to the point of sending Roy Cooper to her district like 3 different times and still making her pay for a ticket to attend the fundraising events. We wrote it up at couragefordemocracy.com. Just because we're going to try and do more of these stories. There's plenty of them. But this.
Oh yeah, Suffolk County, New York. We got some problems out in New York on Long Island. Same deal, right? The state and county and local level Democratic parties are doing absolutely nothing to assist candidates. I mean, Ashley Bell won that primary outright against 5 men, and she can't get any sort of coordinated campaign to save her life. And why do we think that the Democrats are in this position to begin with, to have to fight back for, for Congress? Because they can continue to ignore giant areas of this country, which we refuse to do, which is why we are everywhere all the time. We do not pick our, these are the top 12 races across the country. There are 435 House races in this country, and every single one of them is important. Every single one. I don't care if it's an R+33. That is important.
Yeah.
Right?
If y'all are out in North Carolina, it seems like we've got several folks there. Please do check out Ashley's campaign. That lady has more fight than basically anybody I've ever met. And she is not stopping. She just steamrolled all of her opponents. She took home 52% of the vote with 5 candidates in the field. And she is a healthcare worker. She sees all of this pain and suffering at a visceral level for the people in her district. And yeah, she could use your help in terms of time and, of course, resources, as always. Yeah, as we're going to be doing more of these in more conversational settings, and stuff like this is so helpful to hear from you guys about where you are, what matters, what you want to see, and because Sarah's talked to 150 candidates, and they literally are all across the nation. Chances are we know somebody that is worth getting to know out there. So thank you guys for hanging out with us and for sharing more about how you're currently involved in the in politics situation. We are listening, and we're going to try and build something that actually works for everybody. So we're really glad that you're here.
Go team.
Go team. Till next time.
Bye.